when you allow to make all these parts of you flourish, to make all these parts of you validated, to put them out there, when you take that step just as you are right now in this moment, then you never know how God is going to bless you. Can you believe we saw this and decided to invent JavaScript? After a long day of existing, doing different things, working, creating, overthinking at times, there's something so grounding about doing simple tasks, like Buddhist monks used to say, carry water, chop wood, just to ground themselves back into the present moment after deep meditative sessions. So I thought, you know what, tonight is going to be freezing. Let me set a little fire on the fireplace, get cozy and warm, and jump on a intimate conversation with you guys. We will talk interests, we will talk the real flame of life, our multiple interests. A little fire, get cozy. Sure that having multiple interests is the worst thing you can do unless you learn how to juggle them. I've been struggling a lot in my life, juggling many different interests, because I'm a born curious. I could see a fly flying next to me right now and I'd be like, oh my God, I want to be a biologist and study flies. You know the famous saying, Jack of all trades, master of none. Did you know that the original quote is actually going like, Jack of all trades, master of none, but still better than master of one? So even the author of the famous quote was agreeing with us. I love those kind of people who are born curious, who are lifelong students, who look at life and existence with childlike wonder. Who said anyway that you need to be a master at something in order for you to be good at it, in order for you to enjoy it, in order for you to explore it? And anyway, how many people that actually focus on one specific thing for their whole life actually become masters at it? There is, though, a very thin line, a very fine line between having multiple interests and actually lacking willpower and the focus to see things through. There's a difference between having multiple interests and being scattered all over the place and giving up at the first difficulties. For me, for example, at the moment, I'm balancing different interests that are in different fields. For example, I'm balancing coding school with making music, making art, making videos, which I love to do. And obviously it's a bit challenging to balance those two because they activate different parts of my brain and they require two completely different people. They require two completely different approaches. Coding is left brain, is analytic, whereas creativity is more right brain, is more nuanced, it's more of a spontaneous type of thing. So I think that if you're also dealing with different interests in different fields, for example, maybe you are balancing a career with your creativity and artistic path, make sure that you categorize things properly, because by categorizing things properly, you will be able to give them the right approach and you will be able to give them the right expectations and the right validations as well. So for example, when something is a career, for example, I'm planning for it to be coding, that's why I'm studying coding, then obviously a business purpose, a career purpose needs a certain type of validation from the market, from external people. It needs a certain type of expectations. You need to set different type of goals. Whereas for creativity, if you just do it for the sake of expressing that part of yourself which is screaming to come out, and you keep it as a creative endeavor, then you realize that you don't really need external validation for your art, for your creativity. You don't really need these crazy outcome goals. Maybe you need to set for yourself some output goals. Make sure that you write a certain amount of verses every week. Make sure that you put out a certain amount of videos every week to make sure that your output is consistent, but yet maybe by separating the two, you don't need to put the same expectations that you put on your business endeavors and on your career, on your creativity. Because creativity really flows on that childlike wonder, on that type of energy that creativity wants to flow through. If you're like, oh, I need to create music, I need to make videos, otherwise I'm shit, blah, blah, blah. Creativity is like, nah, I don't really want to flow through that energy right now. So you need to give both of them the right expectations, the right settings. We also live in a time period where you are constantly exposed to new things every day, and that can lead us to shiny object syndrome, where everything you see you want to do, especially because you are exposed to many different things from social media, where maybe people have been pursuing a certain craft for decades, and in 15 minutes you have been exposed at 10 different crafts from people who have been decades into that craft, and that lead you to really have a artificial perception of reality, and that leads us to be very hard for us to have the tunnel vision and focus on our things. And that's why it's very important that you start understanding what interests truly matters to you and what you want to do, because when you build for yourself that, you will be able to build for yourself that funnel which will allow you to see things for what they are and not keep on falling into this trap of wanting to do everything. Divide the day as well, depending on how you prefer to behave. What's going on behind me? How do you prefer to behave? For me, for example, I prefer to write music or write, journal, do more creative work at night. Darkness, by myself, cozy, I love that. Whereas during the day, the sun makes me want to be a different type of person. Or maybe I like to do more, maybe I like to code more, maybe I like to go outside and train more. So my mind really has different tuning based on the sun and the moon, and therefore I use that to my advantage, depending on if I want to pursue a certain thing or if I want to be creative. And honestly, just look at it as a garden, okay? Different type of plants, they require from you a different type of attention, a different type of nourishment. And you never know how God is going to bless you when you trust in the unfoldment of all these different passions, when you allow yourself to show up without being a perfectionist, without putting all this pressure on yourself, when you allow to make all these parts of you flourish, to make all these parts of you validated, to put them out there, when you take that step just as you are right now in this moment, then you never know how God is going to bless you. You never know what path you are going to find yourself in, how things are going to turn out. So don't let this dogma of having to specialize only on one thing stop you, because that really, for me, it's a result of the Industrial Revolution. We're not meant to fit in a box like bees for the rest of our life, doing the same thing over and over. I love bees, by the way, but just an example. Dare to lean into all your interests. Have respect for your time, have respect for yourself. Make sure that you see things through. Make sure that you go beyond difficulties. Okay, friend? I hope you received this. I wish for you abundance. I wish for you alignment with purpose. I wish for you the courage to nurture your curiosities, and remember to respect yourself and see things through. But just follow that, and you never know, if you trust the unfoldment, you never know how the universe is going to bless you. Peace.